Welcome to Life Beyond B.S, where we ditch the belief systems and the bullshit and get real about life. Here it's about awareness, choice, and creating joy that actually lasts. No perfection, just honest talk and powerful change. I'm your host, Heather McNally, and let's get into it. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Life Beyond B.S. I'm Heather McNally, your host, and I'm so excited that you're here. Today, we're going to have an amazing conversation with my friend, Dr. Alissa Esposito. So let me tell you a little bit about her. Dr. Alissa Esposito is the founder of the Make It Happen Project and the Modern Manifestation Academy. She helps women who are done living on autopilot and ready to wake up to their full potential, bridge the gap between the life they have and the one that they want by teaching them science-backed manifestation and identity work that creates lasting change. And that's so that they can manifest the dream life that they've always wanted without settling for the ordinary. So, Alissa, thank you so much for being here today. I'm so happy.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I was really excited when you asked me to be a guest.
Yay. Alyssa and I have been friends for a couple years now. We met through our mutual friend and coach, Lachelle Weemy, Dr. Lachelle
Mhm.
Weemy, and we just started chatting. It started off about dogs, actually. We both had animals, and we just started from there and kept talking, and it's been so much fun. And we actually got a chance to meet back in the beginning of October, which was really fun because we're on different sides of the country. So, Alyssa, tell me a little bit more about just who you are.
Thank you for having me. I am a life coach and I work with women who are just wanting to take their life in a different trajectory and start manifesting a life they love. And for me, I feel like I have been called to this work after some stuff happened in my life. I've always been someone who's been really interested in personal development and nonfiction. And I had a journey with cancer, and that really led me to look at things differently in life. And it brought me to life coaching. And it's something that I'm really passionate about spreading the message to other women. Like, are you really living the life that you want to live? Because this is time we don't get back. And are you living the life on your terms, or are you living the life that someone else has kind of laid out for you? It was great to meet Heather in that program, and I know we are both very different versions of ourselves. So when you say, "Tell me more about who you are now," I my mind thinks back about I've had all these different versions of myself over the last couple of years, and that's what's so exciting about personal development. The work that you do, the work that I do is we're always growing and up leveling our identity and manifesting different results from our identity. So it's kind of cool to know the old version of you and the new version of you. And I can see the amount of growth you've had in the last couple of years since we've known each other. So it's been a really fun time. And yes,
Yeah.
it's awesome that we can connect and meet people on the internet. And it's really amazing to, have that real life experience where we finally got to meet after 2 years. It was weird. It was surreal. It's like I'm meeting someone in real life that I feel like I've known forever, right?
I know. It was really kind of wild because I also felt like I knew you so well already. And
Right.
all right, so we're meeting for the first time, really? But at the same time, it was so cool how it just was so easy. Just the conversation flowed, and I was like, "Oh, we're done already." So I loved that, and I think I agree 100%. Connection is so important, and if you're going to find it online, if you're going to find it in person, it doesn't matter how you find it as long as you have a true, authentic connection with somebody. And like you said, watching you grow, we've grown so much together through this journey, and we've kind of almost been like unexpected accountability partners, which
Yeah,
is great.
absolutely. Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
nice to have when you can connect with other people who are going through your journey and they understand what your challenge is, or they'd been in your path before and your feet and your shoes, I guess, rather, and
Mm.
can walk alongside with you and cheer you on. And I think that's been a great asset of our friendship.
Yeah. I think it's been great that we've been able to lift each other up when we need it or to egg each other on when we need it.
Right.
And yeah, it's been fantastic. So you mentioned all these different versions of you, which I completely relate to because I have had the same exact experience in my life. If you told me that even 10 years ago where I'd be now, never mind when I was a kid or 20s, 30s, that I'd be here, I would have thought you were out of your mind. So you've come a long way in your own journey in life. So tell me a little bit about some of the limiting beliefs that you feel that you have had to conquer, identify and conquer to get to where you are now.
Yeah, gosh, there's so many. I'll kind of go over a few of them. One of one of the things I see a lot that happen with myself and with other women that I work with is sometimes we come up against what society wants or what other people want us to do. And so we might have this internal battle or struggle where you feel unaligned with that, but you feel the pressure from the outside to make this particular choice or follow this particular path. And this brings me back to thinking about when I was trying to decide what to study in school. And my dad wanted me to be a pharmacist, and I just couldn't mail that package with that application. And it was a good lesson for me to learn that didn't resonate with me. And just because something like other people expect a certain thing from you, you really have to do what feels right to you. So that was a really good lesson for me. And it played out a different way in my life later on. So when I was going through my cancer battle and whatnot, I have a medical degree and I felt a little misaligned with medicine and that I got a little bored. I tend to get bored of certain things and I just felt like there was something else out there for me. And it took a lot of time to work through the guilt in my mind of the belief system of you've committed X amount of years to learning a profession and hundreds of thousands of dollars for this medical degree. You can't trade that in or change your role in life or your goal in life or your occupation in life. Like you're throwing it away. And it's like, why does it have to be a either or?
Mm-hmm.
And letting go of the guilt, giving myself permission and to be someone else or to ask for more or to have one foot in both worlds, right? And that was a belief system of my own that I had to overcome that I think there's this pressure on young kids and maybe less now than it was when you and I were growing up to pick a major and that's your career and that's your path and like you're pigeonholing yourself into something that you feel like you're not allowed to ever reinvent yourself again and sometimes you outgrow that role and that identity and that's actually an awesome thing if you're evolving and why not, but I think in these like the higher you get in education the more you get labeled as this or identified as this one role and it's like that's okay if you want to evolve and take your life in a different direction and it does take some courage and permission and breaking down and recognizing those belief systems before you can break them down and take a different action and different trajectory and a different route.
Yeah, absolutely. And I so resonate with that. I went through school and it was like, I'm going to be an elementary school teacher. I changed schools and everything got messed up and I ended up becoming a psychology major. So I got a bachelor's in psychology and ended up going straight into work after that, working in healthcare and had nothing to do with psychology, nothing to do with what I thought I was going to be. And then I remember when I decided to be a stay-at-home mom, my father told me that I was wasting my life and wasting everything I had learned and done. Well, here I am all these years later. And first of all, psychology can always help, but everything you do teaches you something and you learn something from it and you grow. And that's so beautiful. So I
Yeah.
love that. How did the cancer diagnosis change you in terms of your identity and your goals?
I've probably coached about 100 women through their cancer journey, and that's not my primary focus of who I work with, but it was something that I've just done to give back. But I tell them that it's actually one of the best things that ever happened to me, and I'll put that below meeting my husband because I
Mhm.
love him and he's my best friend and my soulmate. And they look at me like I'm nuts, and I tell women this all the time. And I'm sure it's harder as someone who has cancer to have somebody else tell you that versus someone just on the outside, but it gave me so much perspective in life. I finally understood like the value of time. That
Mhm.
is there limited resources that we don't get that back, right? And it really led me to ask myself, are you doing with your life what you want to do? And when I honestly asked myself that, the answer was no. And I stopped chasing all the awards. I stopped going to all the meetings. I prioritized my time differently. Like I would rather spend the evening with my husband or my best friend, and nobody's going to be at the end of their life saying, I wish I would have went to one more meeting, or I should have gone to that drug rep meeting. Or, it's just like, I think that's where it led me to the passion for the life coaching, because I want women to wake up, put themselves first, and say, none of us are guaranteed tomorrow, whether you have cancer or not, right? Nobody wants to think about it, but it's true. You could get hit by a car, right? We just don't know. And so it's living intentionally with your life, intentionally taking the wheel of the car and being this behind the steering wheel of your life, going places, making things happen, living your dream life. Stop being the victim, stop being the passenger. And that's really where I think it gave me that awakening in life of what was really important. And I've always been someone who's pretty open, but I'll tell my friends I love them. I try to live my life by minimizing my regrets because I'm intentional with my time. I tell people how I feel about them, and I'm creating the life I want to live by spending the time really cultivating that identity of the person that has that type of life. And so I just tell people it was just an amazing thing. I met wonderful people from it. I have a new best friend from it. The friends that I had, I was always the type of friend who would keep things up, like check on. And when I had no energy and I had a lot of friends, they really showed up for me. And that was really nice to see because I felt like I was always the friend that was carrying the relationship. So it really showed me who cared about me. And it was actually a good thing. It was a hard thing to go through. And I think I found out that what I was capable of too. I knew this was something that I don't want to say is going to define me, but maybe it would be a better way of saying it was a defining moment in my life. And I
Mhm.
asked myself, like, who do you want to be during this experience? Who do you want to be on the other side of this experience? People are going to be watching you. I have a job. I'm in front of the public. I didn't plan on stop working while I was going through chemo. And I don't mind talking about it, but I didn't want to have to talk about it 20 times a day, every patient I saw. But I knew that I was kind of an example of what was possible going through this. And
Mhm.
so all of those things were kind of going through my mind. And I just really tell the other women that, like, it can, like anything, it's a circumstance and it can lift you up and you can overcome the challenge or you can be a victim to it. And one of the women I know, she didn't have to go through the chemo and the radiation and the hormone therapy and all this stuff. And she's been done for years, but she is still a victim to it in her mind. Like she harbors so much
Mhm.
anger. And I didn't want that to be me. And so I really try to work with the women and help them realize that it's a hard challenge you're going to go through, but how can this be something that grows you and you come out more resilient and strong?
Yeah, that's so incredible and so empowering. And I hope that everybody listening can look at that and understand that every situation you go through in life can define you if you choose to let it.
Yeah, in
Or
good
it
or
can
bad
help you,
ways.
yeah, or it can help you learn and rise and grow and become and experience more of this life, the journey of life, which is just so beautiful. I'm sorry that you had to have the experience, but it's interesting because even though we've known each other for a few years, I forget all the time that you had cancer. Well, I guess because you don't talk about it a lot, other than in a more positive light in terms of helping people and that you learn from it. I didn't know you at the time, but you didn't take on that identity of I am a cancer patient. I am a victim, like you said, and that's everything. That can
Yeah,
completely change somebody's life either
right.
way.
Absolutely. Having your head in the game, the mental aspect is really important in people's recovery, sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So you talk a lot about manifestation. That's your thing. You have the Modern Manifestation Academy. This is your baby, and I love that I've been able to watch it grow.
Oh, thank you.
And we just talked about identity, but you also, in general, talk about how identity drives manifestation more than just desire. So can you walk us through how someone's sense of who I am plays into what actually shows up in their life? A little more detail on that.
Sure. Yeah. Wonderful question. So, manifestation, when I first heard about it, I remember thinking, this is just woo-woo. This
Mhm.
is for the, I call it the desperate and delusional and just kind of wishful thinking, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, this does not work. What are they talking about? And I have a science background. I have,
Mhm.
2 degrees in science. So It wasn't until I learned that manifestation really means to bring something from the immaterial, a thought in our head, and bring it into the material 3D world. It's making it happen. It's how an idea for things like the cell phone becomes a cell phone. It was
Mm.
just an idea in somebody's head at one point in time. And that's really what manifestation means. So it's like demystifying it. And I'm like, oh, I have an idea and I make things happen all the time. You are manifesting. But we don't feel like we're manifesting because we're manifesting more of the same. We have like 60,000 thoughts in a day. And most of those thoughts are automatic and they're just kind of what keeps our brain conserving energy. They keep us alive. And so overall, if you look at a couple months span, most of your days are kind of the same. Most of your weekdays are probably the same, right? And we're manifesting more of the same. But when we want to manifest or create new different results, that's when we have to start taking different action. We have to have different thoughts and we have to ultimately change our identity. And so you don't manifest what you want. Like I said, it's not a passive thing of just sitting down and wishing and dreaming about something. It's a whole process of that it starts with the desire of having something, which is really a thought, right? And it's getting in the energetic alignment of that. What does that mean? Well, it means doing the things that the person who has that result. Like if you want to be Michael Phelps, when he had this idea of becoming a gold medal, he had to train every day. He had to envision touching the wall first. He had to show up with that determination, with that desire and that energy of a gold medal winner every day. He embodied it. And so manifestation is, like I said, more than just the wishful thinking. It's
Mhm.
about becoming the person that has the result and believing in that. And there's a whole science. There's neuroscience behind it. There's quantum physics behind it of how this happened. And that's what I love about what I brought into the Modern Manifestation Academy was yes, we go over all the personal development aspects of that because you manifest who you're being, who you're identifying as, who you're embodying. That's all the personal developments. It's overcoming those belief patterns that we have,
Mhm.
those limiting beliefs. We do a lot of limiting belief work because that is who we think we are, right? If we feel like we have a belief that it's not possible for us, then it's not going to be possible for you. You
Mhm.
have to overcome that. So, totally in line with what you're talking about. But there's science behind all of this stuff. And so I bring in the science, I bring in the personal development, and then we bring in the coaching because it's
Mhm.
really in the coach world, we talk about it's hard to read the label when you're inside the bottle. When you
Mhm.
have somebody who's outside of you, like Coach Heather here, she can objectively see your problem in a different light than in a different aspect or a different perspective than you can. And so when you marry all those things together, that's really what starts getting people out of those stuck cycles, out of the energy loops, and starts taking their life in a different trajectory. And so that's really what manifestation is when people say they want to manifest, they really want to manifest something intentionally that they don't already have, or they're not already doing. And that requires some shifts in belief and energy work and identity and all of that things. That answer
Yeah.
your question?
Yes, absolutely. And it's fantastic because I do love the science. I geek out over the science too. I love
Yeah.
it. But I
And
think
that's really what
that,
legitimized it and clicked everything for me is
yeah.
have understanding, oh yeah, there is an actual science to this.
Right, because people sit and think, like you said, it's woo-woo. It's like you hear the word manifest and it's become such a big buzzword.
Yeah.
And people hear it and they're like, yep, that's all woo-woo, and I'm not into that, and I'm not going to be into witchy things. And people have very skewed ideas of what it actually is. But when you start to truly understand what it is and the science behind it, and it doesn't have to get super complicated. So for those people that are like, oh my God, I'm not a scientist, I don't want to get like down and dirty with all the science and know all that. I just want to live a life I love. What would you say to them?
Well, I think when they say they want to live a life they love, my first question is, do you love the life you're living right now? And if the
Mhm.
answer is yes, great. Do more of the same. Doing more of the same gets you more of the same results. If not, then that's when you have to say, okay, like how do I change or what can I change or what do I want? And one of the things that Heather did with me is she took one of my vision board workshops, and that's a big piece for women is getting very clear on what your dream life looks like. And I find a lot of people as adults, like we just stop dreaming. When we're kids, we have these amazing imaginations and we dream about all these endless possibilities. But as adults, we're kind of put ourselves in this box or this role, and we don't think things are possible anymore, or we tell ourselves we shouldn't, right? And so getting clarity about what's possible, what you really want, and just like as we evolve in our life, what I wanted 10, 15 years ago is different than what I want my life to look like now and the next 10 or 15 years ago. Just like you said, I wouldn't have believed where I'm at 10 years ago looking
Mhm.
back, right? Clarity in that and recognizing is just two huge pieces. And that's what the vision board really does is it helps you intentionally choose what would I love to have? If anything was possible, what would I love to have? And I know you put a whole bunch of stuff on your vision board and you're like my superstar person that's gone through that vision boarding exercise. You manifested so much off that and
Mhm.
but I think it just helped you intentionally choose.
Yeah. I 100%, I've said this to you multiple times that that manifestation board workshop really got me going. It got a fire under me that I kept having the light go out before. And I had ideas and I had thoughts about what I wanted to do, but I still kept holding myself back, even though I knew what I wanted to do, because I did have some of those limiting beliefs that I'd been working so hard on. There were still little pieces of them there. So it's not perfect. There's no such thing as perfection. We all have times where we move forward and then step back for a minute
Right.
and then maybe move 2 or 3 steps ahead. And that workshop, 100%, I said, I'm actually going to physically create this because I've done them before, but it was digital.
Mhm.
Nothing wrong with the digital, except you either have to print it out or make sure you're looking at it all the time or have it as a screensaver or something. Having it physically there so I would walk by it and see it. I was like, I have to work on these things. I'm not going to go 6 months to a year and have none of this have happened. So even though I had the desire and I had the understanding of what I needed to do, I still needed to get past some of those beliefs that were like, oh, you can't do that. Oh, you're not going to be there. And so
Right.
I jumped on some of them, and I am in 1 year, I have completely changed,
Yeah.
really, done so many things. And a huge part of that is because I took that with you, and it
Awesome.
really made me think and say, all right, the fire is lit. And a year, and I can move all those things off of the board onto maybe a separate board of I did it and
Right.
add more onto the board.
And that's why I teach the dynamic vision board
Mm,
process because, like I said, manifestation is taking something from an idea and starting to bring it in the 3D physical world. So when you're physically making the digital or the vision board that's not digital, right, we're creating something in the 3D.
mm.
And I think a lot of stuff digitally, we lose it on our computer
Oh,
or we
yeah.
just forget we have it. And I tell people that that vision board is really your benchmark. It's your way to measure, am I making progress on my goals? You should
Mm,
be manifesting things on there and taking things off and putting new things on there. So I think it's a fun measuring stick on that regard. And back to what you said about beliefs, limiting beliefs of what's possible. I
mm.
work with women when I do these vision board challenges. Some of them don't know what to even put on there because they don't let themselves even have they don't believe that they could have anything, right? And
Yeah.
they don't feel worthy or this wouldn't be possible for me. And so I have different techniques. Like I'll tell them, I love Harry Potter. You know, what if you had a magic wand and it helps and you could have anything you want?
Hmm.
If you're a magic wand, what would you put on there? Because that helps them release their attachment from that limiting belief of it's not possible for me,
Mm,
but I would really love this. Because I see people hold back and they're like, well, I shouldn't want more. This is good enough, right?
mm,
And to really, what we talk about in the Manifestation Academy and in physics, there anything is possible in the quantum. And so you just have to become a match for it. You have to have the desire. But when you feel like you're not worthy, you're already like limiting and playing small. So sometimes that can just be that whole vision board creation can be
mhm.
really something that tests people
Oh,
self-worth
yes.
belief, right? So
Yeah.
I thought that was great that you could dream big and see past that. But I have
Well,
some people I'm like,
be-
just start with one, even if you get one image.
right.
Because
Because my
that's the
vision
hardest part.
board 10 years ago would have been so completely different. I've always had this thought in my mind of I'm going to have a beach house someday. But that was like a wild, crazy dream for me. Like it'll probably never happen. Maybe I'll be 95 when it happens. to have put myself up there. I'm on stage and I want to write, and I want a podcast and all these things. And I was like, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Maybe they would have been wild dreams that I didn't think were
Yeah.
absolutely possible,
We talk
but
ourselves out of stuff all the time.
yes. And now, oh my God, girl, it's like now I have a podcast. Now I have a chapter in a book. Now I'm doing this and things that I used to think were for other people,
Yes, exactly.
special people.
Yeah, that's why I really feel like we have to, when we're doing that exercise, is get people out of their heads of what's possible for them and then look beyond that because it might be possible for someone else they feel like you
Mhm.
said, but not them. And to get them to dream past that and then to step out of that limiting belief is
Mhm.
really where all that work that really takes you and manifests a completely different life. I feel like you're a completely different person than when you were 2 years ago.
I would even think things like, well, the only people that become, you know, have their own business and do something big and, get to speak on a stage and get to have a podcast are people like, oh, Tony Robbins. And he probably was born with blah, blah, blah. Or he knew somebody that gave it to him, and different like big, big names that I'm not saying I'm aspiring to be, but, you never know at this point.
Mhm.
But then you learn, like, he was homeless. He had a completely different life than what I thought. It wasn't because it was given to him. It was because he had a dream and a desire and he did it. He did
Yeah,
something about it.
right,
Like you said, manifest it from
right,
your thoughts. And
right.
the beautiful thing that I have found, and tell me your thoughts about this, is it can be so much bigger and more beautiful than you ever even imagined.
Absolutely. I think what we think is a level 10 as you start growing, maybe is really a level 3.
Yeah.
And you just start, it's like the snowball effect as you're growing of what's really possible. And that's a really cool thing as well that I see happen frequently with people who do the vision board
hmm
workshop.
hmm It's so beautiful. It's such a crazy thing. I can't say
Yeah,
enough great stuff about
because
that.
all of these things that you've done that were on your vision board, you've manifested. And you've
Yeah.
done that because you chose not to succumb and stay in that limiting belief cycle. You chose to recognize that and say, well, why not me?
Right.
Instead of, I can't, this isn't possible for me. Why not me? You chose to think something different. You chose to take those brave steps, even if they didn't always work out, and you slowly evolved your identity. And that's
Mhm.
why I'm saying manifestation is so much more than just writing down mantras 3 times in the morning. There's something called the 369 method, 6 times in the midday, 9 times at night. You don't have to do that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Like there's so much more to it. And it's teaching your reticular activating system to
Mhm.
look for the positive instead of the negative. So you're finding all this evidence that things are happening for you and not against you. And that's why all this stuff is manifested
Yeah.
for you because you really shifted your identity. And like I said,
Mhm.
you don't manifest what you want, but you manifest who you're being.
Yeah, and I want more people to hear that and know that you may not need to know the science behind it, but there's this thing, like you said, Alyssa, is the reticular activating system. What you put in is what your brain starts looking for. So the example everybody always gives is you get a new car, new to you, and you go out the next day and the next week and you just see that car everywhere. Now, everybody didn't go out that night before the same night as you and buy that car, but
Right.
it's in your brain, so your brain is looking for it. So it's the same thing with all this.
Yeah.
Fear can hold us back because we're scared of doing something. We're scared of
Right.
failing. We're scared of maybe even too much success. We're afraid of looking stupid, what people are going to say about us. Tell me a little bit about when you manifest fear.
When you're manifesting fear, well, we're manifesting from the state where the identity we're always in. So if you're fearful, if you have the belief, and this can go back to the reticular activating system we were
Mm,
just talking about, you have the belief that nothing ever works out for me. You're fearful that you should even try, right? Your brain scanning your environment, your life for all the evidence that nothing's working out for you. So, what are you going to manifest? More things that aren't working out for you. You're going to find more evidence of that. You're not going to try. You're going to stay doing the same thing, and you're finding more things to be fearful about. Your nervous system's in fight or flight, and you're not going to feel brave if you're in fear, right? You're not going to have the extra energy to go out and try something new. You're probably just trying to conserve energy. I mean, that's part of the minimum functioning our brain does, the survival mechanism. Our
Hmm.
primitive brain is trying to conserve energy, it's trying to keep you alive, it's trying to keep you safe. And that's part of the reason we manifest more of the same because it's easy for our brain. It doesn't have to use all this extra energy doing things new, taking on challenges, learning new tech, applying for new jobs that require you to grow your skills or something, or starting that business. So all of those things could be considered like a fearful state to your nervous system. And you have to use the prefrontal part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, that newer piece of the brain that's more evolved to say, oh, yeah, this situation really isn't going to kill me. I have to just realize that this is a normal part of the survival mechanism of my brain keeping me small.
Right. Yeah, because that primitive brain has not evolved the way that we
Right.
have as
Yeah.
quickly as we have. So it just literally wants to keep you safe. It wants to keep you alive. And so the fears will show up there because it's like, oh, it's unfamiliar. We don't know what it is. It could be dangerous, but it could be so much more beautiful. Like we've talked about with the manifestation, things that you think you want, and then they turn out to be so much bigger and better than you thought. So I love how you started talking about what you say, right? What you say out loud, and alignment often shows up in your words, the things that you say, what you're feeling energetically, emotionally, vibrationally. So, what are some subtle signs that you would say that when somebody you hear somebody talking that shows they're out of alignment with who they are?
Yeah. So most people are, when what you're talking about is being in out of alignment with what they want and
Mm,
who they are. So they might say they want a new job, but they aren't feeling confident that they're gonna get it.
hmm.
They won't apply for new jobs. They'll sit in the dirty diaper of the job they don't like and complain. And it'll be a cycle that just perpetuates.
Hmm.
Where I think women have this, I think a lot of it's just more stronger in women where we have that intuition of if something feels right to us, right?
Hmm.
You can outgrow a situation, and that's a sign that you're out of alignment. You're ready for a shift. You're ready to ascend your consciousness and try something new and grow. And we mistake the discomfort of something new sometimes as we're out of alignment or it's my gut instinct of telling me I shouldn't do something. And so we have
Hmm.
to also recognize that is this really my primitive brain just saying, oh, it's going to take extra energy and you might fail and maybe you should just keep doing the same? Or am I truly out of alignment with what my soul feels like I should be doing? Like, does this light
Hmm.
me up anymore? And I think also as women, we need to give ourselves permission to reinvent ourselves.
Hmm.
Sometimes I work with women who are getting out of a divorce or they're empty nesters or they've had this whole identity and role and primary like role lately has been just a mom. And it's like, well, what about your dreams and desires and stuff? And
Hmm.
you can be an amazing mom and have a life that you love living and you're not just living your life for other people. And how inspiring is that to your
Hmm.
family and your kids as well? And it's really, are you the out of alignment is what does your heart and soul say, and how does that match your reality? And if they're kind of feeling like they're together and not resistant, and you just feel so open and excited for things, then I would say you're in alignment. If not, there's some kind of block or misalignment. And a lot of the blocks are you might have this wish, but you keep self-sabotaging. Why? Because
Hmm.
of an underlying belief system
Right.
somewhere
Right.
there, a limiting belief.
Fear. Yeah. All of it.
Fear, a
Yeah.
block, a self-worthy, like
Yeah.
not feeling worthy, all of those things can cause us to stay stuck, really. And that's a safe place for us is creating more of the same.
Yeah. And so I like how you talk about like how do you feel it? How do you feel in your body? One of the things that Lachelle, our mutual friend and coach, has always said, and that I live by at this point because I used to deny it all the time. I've always had great intuition, but I didn't always listen to it. And so when you're feeling something, think to yourself, like, where am I feeling this in my body and how does it feel? Does it feel anxiety? Like, a little, nervous, but expansive. Like, I really want this. I really can do this. I really believe this. Or does it feel like this is absolutely not what I want. And I think what you just said, you can feel that in your body, your heart, your soul. You just have to let yourself listen to that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So for people who've done work in this and they come to you and they say, well, I've done a lot of self work and I'm still not seeing the results. What am I doing wrong? What is the first thing you look at in that situation?
I look at their dominant thought patterns, their dominant energy they're in. So sometimes I'll have people who they're in a lot of the hustle energy,
Mhm.
and they're putting a lot of action through, but they're doing it because they are so frustrated, pissed off, mad, angry that they want to be over here. It's like an escape. It's like but it's coming from this very negative place. So they get frustrated that they not getting the result, and what they're manifesting is more things to be frustrated about, more
Mhm.
reasons to stay stuck, more, and they can't seem to get out of this energy loop. So it's really a what energy are you creating in?
Mhm.
What thought patterns are you having? And it's not as much about the amount of action that you're taking, but those things and your identity. All of these things comprise your identity. It's like, who are you being? Are you being the person that has those results? Or are you really just spinning your wheels out of frustration? So somewhere in there's some kind of misalignment that's keeping them from getting that result.
Yeah, definitely. So I love all of this. When you look at somebody and you say, okay, or they say to you, all right, I really am interested in doing this work, but I'm scared, but I don't believe that I'll actually get the results and things like that. How many people come to you and say that? Like, are they coming to you already saying, I know I can do this, I want to do this, now I need help? Or are they coming to you saying, I can't get out of my own way? What do you tend to see?
I see a little bit of everything. The people that think they can't do it sometimes with the buts, they're like internal ones that they may not be brave enough to tell me that.
Hmm.
And they don't even give themselves a chance. They won't, those are the people that don't invest. They don't want to take the chance on themselves. But the personal development, the dream life is something that nobody can give you.
Yeah.
Nobody can give you. You have to choose it for yourself. And you can, it doesn't work when somebody buys coaching as a gift for someone else that
Hmm.
doesn't want to do it. Like it has to be their idea. And some people are ready and they get it, and you are your biggest, greatest investment. Because
Hmm.
when you're happy, when you're lit up, when you're living a life that's full of purpose and joy and what you really want to do, it radiates success, it radiates love. You start attracting people in your life, clients in your life, like everything feels lighter and feels better and more in flow. And so there's an element of believing it's possible, but there's just different stages, I guess, of readiness. And
Absolutely.
it depends on when someone's ready and if they feel like they're ready to kind of ascend and grow. And sometimes people might watch me for a while and then choose to jump in, and that's fine. But part of my message is we never get time back. And
Right.
why sit in the dirty diaper longer than you need to? Like,
Hmm.
enjoy now. Like, none of us are guaranteed another day. And so that's part of my message, not in a YOLO kind of way, but in a why not now? Why not me? Why not have an amazing life? Why not have the things I really dream about? Why not have amazing friends and a supportive partner? I don't have kids, but amazing dog. And you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, why not live those lives? But
The
like,
life you
really, this
want.
is just the work that nobody can do for you.
Right.
It takes time and it takes some dedication, but it's so worth it. It's just something that just you can't do any other way.
It's so powerful. And that's the thing is like, for me, I called it my brick in the face moment. I had a moment where I realized I was verbally, we talked about what you say, I would say, I can't. I wouldn't even listen to the question somebody would ask me. I can't. And then it was like, boom, wait, what? Why can't I? Maybe somebody out there listening will hear the message of you live this life once. You can have anything happen. It can be a diagnosis, it can be somebody else's diagnosis. Like I had my mom become
Right,
ill and I took care of her. And that was a huge reason that I decided that I did not want to leave this life not doing things that I knew I was capable of and that I knew
right,
that I wanted. It still took me some time, but learn from what you go through in life and
right,
recognize
totally.
that anything can happen. And why not? I used to say it all the time. Why can't I? Instead of saying, I can't, why can't I? Why can't I have that? Why can't
Yeah,
I do that? Why can't I
exactly.
be her?
Yeah, that's a higher level thought. It's really hard to go from a very disempowered thought to,
Hmm.
that's why I don't say write down I'm rich,
Right.
100 times. That
Hmm.
you can't go from a negative bank account looking at that to feeling abundant and rich. It's like too much dichotomy between the two. Your
Yep.
brain doesn't believe it. And so when people just say I can't, that is a form of self-sabotage.
Hmm.
They have to believe in themselves. It's a missing belief in themselves or that it's possible. They'll use different excuses. And when that goes back to that saying, when there's a will, there's a way. You can
Hmm.
find different resources. You can, I don't know, sell things if you need money. It's like, how determined are you to get yourself out of the situation you don't want to be in and change your life? Because that's why I say you can't buy life coaching for someone else who doesn't want the
Right.
change. They have to want that. It's like, how much do you want that change? And it's great that you went from I can't to realizing, why can't I? And
Yeah.
that's not I can. That's not
Hmm.
the opposite belief, but it's a nice in between thought. And that's a part of the life coaching tools is like, well, what is the next believable thought for you?
Right.
Well, maybe it's possible. Well, if it's possible for her, maybe it's possible for me.
Hmm.
Maybe it's like, why not me? And it's like, maybe I could succeed at this, or maybe this would work. And you can feel the change in your nervous system, in your body,
Hmm.
when you shift from that, I can't to, maybe it is possible for me. Like it just
Yeah.
totally feels different. And that's the kind of transformations that we're talking about. And all these little things completely change your outlook on life, your energy,
Hmm.
and then how you do anything is how you do everything, right? Like everything
Yep.
just starts shifting after that.
Absolutely. And I think that's the power of having a coach is that you may not take those steps on your own, or you may take one
Right.
step here and 6 years later take the next step.
Right.
And the power of
Yeah.
having a coach is if you're ready to say, I want to make changes, but I just don't know where to start, or I know there's more to life, but I don't know where it is, and I have no idea what that more is. Having somebody who can help pull that out of you. We're not telling you what to do as a coach. Our job is to help you see who you are, see what you want, and see what's
Yeah.
possible. But we have great tools to be able to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think what you said, break in the
Yeah.
face moment, for me, that was the cancer. And
Mm.
that's my message to women, just like you had that moment. I don't want them to wait for that moment. I don't want them to wait for the diagnosis. I don't want them to have some accident in their family happen for them to have that wake up call. Like, why not
Yeah.
make changes now?
Yeah.
Why continue in that loop if you don't want to?
Yeah. And I say this to people all the time now. I'm like, I'm 53 years old. And a lot of people my age are starting to go, oh, when am I going to retire? What's my plan for retirement? My plan for retirement is working, doing this work and helping other women because I took such a long time to do the work to get to where I am. And I want other women to be able to see it's possible sooner to, not say, oh, more than half my life's probably over, but if you're 53, if you're 57, it doesn't matter. Start now because this is your life. It's that brick in the face moment and it's that grabbing life because I spent so many years miserable, hating myself. And it wasn't because I truly believed that in myself. It was because of those limiting beliefs that were placed upon me.
Yeah.
And when I look back and I say, wow, I lived my life abusing myself in ways because my father was in my head, because his beliefs were what were stuck in my head, realize that those beliefs probably aren't yours. probably aren't what you want to live by, but you have to recognize that. You have to become aware of them
Yep.
and start doing the little things. And one of the things that, you said is you're not just going to go from I have a negative bank account balance to I have millions of dollars. And that is the same thing with affirmations for me is I think affirmations are very powerful and they get made fun of. And there was that Stuart Smalley on SNL and all the jokes and everyone says, oh, but it's a lie. But your affirmation doesn't have to be, I'm a millionaire and I have this car and this house. Your affirmation can be as simple as I'm a good person. I try to help people. Anything that can go into that reticular activating system and start proving you right. Because the more you put in, I'm overweight, nobody likes me, I'm not good enough. That's what your brain is looking for to prove you right. So why
Yeah,
not prove
absolutely.
yourself right with something better?
Right. Yep. These are all the little neuroscience type stuff that
Mhm.
really go into coaching that make a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I will say, I've had therapists, and there's absolutely like therapy is a great tool. But I will say that if you have worked on a lot of the things in your past and you're
Mhm.
ready to move forward, but you just don't know how, that's where coaching is super powerful because we don't look into the past. We look into who you are and who you want to be and move forward,
Yeah, it's much more
and make
forward
those
focused.
changes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So for somebody who right now is stuck in their BS, whether you want to think of it as the belief systems or the bullshit that society has told us, and they want to start manifesting something, what would you tell them as like a very first step? Do it today.
I would say I always tell people everything starts with awareness. What are those dominant thoughts that keep going through your head? What is the belief system?
Hmm.
And then look at the opposite of that. Like I said, you're not going to go from I'm broke to I'm rich, but at least you know, well, what the direction you did to change it, and then look for what's the next believable thought I can get to. And that's really about shifting your mindset out. You can't change what you don't recognize,
Hmm.
right? And so everything really starts with an awareness and
Yes.
choosing and knowing that we have these automatic thoughts that you're not just your thoughts. You can choose not to believe the thought and
Yep.
create a new one.
Yep. You hear it all the time. Don't believe everything that you hear or that someone says.
Yeah,
Don't believe your own thoughts all the time.
absolutely.
Question it.
Yeah, question it and choose
Yeah.
a more empowering thought. We're just really, a lot of times we're the hardest on ourselves.
Oh, yes. A lot of time I was the worst on myself. One of the things is not only did I think it, but I spoke it out loud. And so I manifested more and more of it, but I also pushed people
Exactly.
out of my life because of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, you have this negative energy and people are saying like, "Oh, I don't want to hang out with her." And then you push people further away, you isolate yourself more and more and you think you have more evidence that nobody wants to be around you.
Absolutely. And it's a horrible cycle. But
Yeah.
turn the cycle into something more powerful, and
Yeah.
you will see your life
Yeah.
completely change.
Literally everything starts with a thought. It's just what thought do you want to believe?
Right. One of the things that I always say started it for me was I went to bed thinking of three things I was grateful for and one thing I was looking forward to. And like anything, it becomes a habit. You have to make it become a habit. You can't just do it once and it's going to change everything. Everything is work, but after maybe a week and a half of saying that to myself every night, going, oh, yeah, I wanted to think about this. It started to become, oh, all right, yeah. And I would just think about it. And then it got to a point where I was excited when it was coming to bedtime because I'm like, oh, I get to go and think about this. And it
Right.
just changing that right there. That's the only thing I changed. I started falling asleep easier, which it took me 2 to 3 hours a night to fall asleep before that. I slept through the night and I woke up in so much better of a mood. It was crazy. And that all started to change my energy, which started to change how I felt in my body, which changed how I interacted with. It's amazing.
And
So,
gratitude is one of the most powerful emotions for manifesting
mm,
because we have gratitude for things that we have. So, this is like a little secret of manifestation. I teach my clients to have gratitude ahead of time for
mhm.
what they're trying to manifest. Because what does that have? That has the vibratory signature of, I already have this. I'm grateful for fill in the blank of whatever you're trying to manifest. So instead of
Hmm.
just being grateful for what you have presently, and you always should be, but be grateful for what you're manifesting because that
Hmm.
sends to the universe that signal it's already mine, it's already here. I am that person.
Yeah. So speaking of that, one of the things that you manifested in your life was going to France
Ah,
to
yes.
the Versailles Ball, and I want you to tell everybody a little bit about that.
So I'm a complete Francophile. I'm nuts about France. I've probably been like 12 times. I've kind of lost count, but I'm not even sure how I knew about this. They have an event there once a year at the Palace of Versailles, and it's a 18th century ball in Marie Antoinette era costume, and tickets sell out in a matter of minutes. And I just had my heart set on going there. I've been to Versailles a couple of times. I love it. It's so beautiful. And I thought, how magical would this be? I had two girlfriends who said they'd go with me. And so I did all these things to manifest this sold out event. So a year out before the ball, I booked a hotel. And so that tells the universe I'm already going.
Mhm.
The tickets didn't go on sale till November. This was June. I booked the hotel. I went and got all my dress fabric. The tickets went on sale. I think it went like 4 a.m. on some early day in November. And I was in charge of getting the three of us in Vegas. And then there was a group in California. I didn't know them, but friends of friends kind of thing. They were going to go in California. And so the website crashes immediately because there's so
Mhm.
many people trying to get tickets. The popularity's really gotten big over the last couple of years because of all the influencers that have been going.
Mhm.
And I just kept trying, and finally it puts me in the queue, and it would just spin and it wouldn't add to cart. And my husband's like, "Do you want me to walk the dog? Because I'm supposed to go to work, you know?" And I'm like, yes, that would be lovely. I said, I am not moving from this seat until I get tickets. And in the meanwhile, I'm hearing in the Facebook group, there's thousands of people in the Facebook group, they sell 750 tickets every year. I'm hearing from people in the Facebook group that, oh, it's sold out, everything's sold out. And I'm like, no, I refuse to believe it. And I'm chatting with the photographer that I had chosen for I wanted a photo shoot while I'm there. And I said, well, it sounds like tickets are sold out, but I am still coming. I am going there. I see myself, like I visualize myself there. I said, book me some time. I want to come. And he goes, I'll put you down for an hour. I said, no, I want 2 hours because I'm having my friends and we want a couple locations. And an hour and a half later, after trying, I ended up with three tickets. There's different levels of tickets. I didn't
Mhm.
know all the levels, and it's funny because I had said, "Oh, I've always wanted to be a duchess." You know, obviously,
Mhm.
like probably not going to happen, but I got the duchess level tickets, and so the three of us were at the duchess. But it was the
So
most
you were the
amazing.
Duchess.
I was the duchess after all. I totally manifested exactly what I asked for. I found this lady who was incredible at making, I'm not even going to call it a costume, a gown.
Mhm.
She made me a gown, and I had such delight in watching her make my friends that I decided to hire her because my sewing skills are rudimentary. And I figured, why make this a frustrating experience? I want this to just be magical. And
Mhm.
so we went to this garden party the day before, and it was just surreal. The gowns everybody was in, the costumes, it was just incredible. They had fencing and they had they just everything, aerial acrobatics, and I mean it's hard to describe the
Mhm.
detail, everything. And I got a dance in the Hall of Mirrors where the king and queen danced, and they
Mhm.
did dance lessons where we did the like trompet, the old school kind of dance and stuff that they did there, and they reenacted one of the weddings of one of the kings of France. I mean, it was just absolutely incredible, and I had the whole wig made and everything, and
Mhm.
fireworks at midnight, and what an amazing thing. And that had been on my vision board for years, and I'm like, I'm making this happen. And so despite all those things of things like not the sold out tickets, I'm like, no, I just refuse to believe it. I'm going there. And we did. And
That's
it
amazing.
was more like it exceeded my expectations. It was
Mm.
incredible.
And something you will never ever forget.
Never
That's just,
forget.
and you have the
Yes.
professional photos. That's just so fantastic. I
It
love
was
that.
so awesome.
So I want you to tell me a little bit about where people can reach you and how they could work with you
Yeah.
with your Modern Manifestation Academy, and if you have anything up your sleeve that you're looking to manifest.
Okay. Yeah. So my website is theMakeItHappenProject.com. That's my coaching business. My program's called the Modern Manifestation Academy. It's a 6-month program where you come in and you can learn all the different techniques about manifestation, all the science behind it. I teach a process called the Align method for manifestation. I have a manifestation journal people get with that. We do the group coaching. I have a VIP level that people can add on one-on-one coaching if they want to. So, yeah, come check out the program. And what am I manifesting now? I'm looking over at my vision board. I would like to do a retreat.
Mm.
I think that would be really fun. I'd like to do it in France, would be a really fun one. Ultimately, I want to manifest a chateau, and I'm looking at some other things on there. I have a couple publications on my vision board, like Oprah Daily, Mind Body
Mhm.
Green. I want to do some writing and be featured in those. So I've had some articles I've submitted. So I'm excited for that to kind of come into fruition and just being
Mhm.
patient. I've put the emails out there and it'll come.
Amazing. Yes, it will. So you have taught me that if nothing else, I've seen it, I've felt it, it's happened, and I believe it. So it's
Thank you.
beautiful. I would like you to tell me, my last question for you is, what is your definition of living a life beyond BS?
Living a life beyond BS to me is really ties into manifestation. Your set of belief systems is what you're manifesting from. So it's looking at your belief systems, saying if you want something different, you got to change your belief systems, not believing those, choosing new ones, and manifesting new results.
Mm.
That's really what I did is I asked myself, is this thought serving me? Where did I get this thought? Thought back to my childhood. Is this really true? Is this a thought or is this a fact? I think a lot of times we think that everything's a fact just because we think it, and it's not always true.
Mhm.
So, and just knowing that you can change your beliefs at any time. A belief is a thought that you've repeated enough and that you've accepted to be true.
Yeah,
It's not necessarily a universal truth, it's your truth. And so we have the power to change if we want to, if we have the awareness and the choice.
I love that. It's not a fact.
Yeah,
Thank you
it's
so much. I
a fact.
so appreciate you being
Thank
here
you,
with me
Heather. It was so
today.
fun. I've
This has
loved
been
seeing all
so
your
fun.
manifesting. Thank you.
Thanks. And so, everybody, thank you so much for sharing this space with me and Alyssa. My hope is that you walk away knowing that you have the power to choose differently. Go live fully, freely, and unapologetically.
I love
Your
that.
life beyond BS starts now. I'm so grateful you were here today. Remember, your peace, joy, and happiness aren't found in the BS. They're found in your choices. If this episode spoke to you, please rate, review, follow, and subscribe, and share it with a friend. For ways to connect or work with me, check the show notes or visit heathermcnally.com. Until next time, keep choosing you and keep living your life beyond BS.